Welcome back. We now have our research team joining in with how the trade setup looks like, the stocks that are likely to be in the news as well. First up, Vinny is joining in to get the cues for all the markets, cues that we need to watch out for. Vinny, good morning. The losses just continue. Fifth day of losses. What's the setup looking like this morning?
Absolutely. Fifth day of losses is what we're seeing coming in for the Nifty 50. And good morning to you as well, Hormaz. But we're not expecting that much of a good morning coming in for the Indian markets because yesterday the Nifty slipped below the 200-day moving average intraday. When you look at it, closed slightly above that mark at the end of the day, but 46 out of 50 stocks, they were stocks that ended in the negative territory. All sectoral indices ended in the red, and especially the losses this time yesterday were led by PSU banks, Nifty Realty, as well as metal names, which were under pressure in trade. When you're looking at it in terms of Nifty Bank, also that closed with cuts of around 1,000 points. So yes, there was pressure coming in on the financial side as well. Top drags that came in for the Nifty 50. Let's look at that. We did have HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank, M&M, Reliance, and SBI among the top drags in terms of contribution coming in for the Nifty 50. So yes, pressure came in from some of the big names over there. FIIs, they also continued to sell more than 30 sessions that they've been selling, continuing that sell-off. And FIIs sold around 2,500 crores in yesterday's trade. DIIs continued to be net buyers. Now, what is hurting the markets that we've seen in terms of a fall? Let's not forget muted earnings season that's going on. We have FIIs that is continuing to sell as of now as well. Inflation data that came in for India not looking quite pretty. So yes, all these factors is something that impacted the market. Now, what are we watching out for today in terms of trade? We have US CPI data that came out overnight, and maybe a reaction to that because it was in line with expectations. So keep an eye on that. Nifty weekly expiry today, so that is something to watch out for. Plus, today is the last trading day of the week. Tomorrow is going to be a holiday in the Indian market, so keeping an eye on that. And a lot of earnings, individual movers that we could see coming in, whether NHL, Hunasa Consumers, Glenmark Pharma, some of the names that are going to be in focus on the back of their numbers. Do not forget, yesterday also there were 45 stocks that are to be now added in the FNO from November 29, 2024. So keeping an eye on those individual stock names, as well as Bitcoin. That's been on a rally. So how is that going to be doing? Key factors to watch out for. But Nifty implied open, not indicating that much of a positive start. As of now, down almost 35 points.
Well, relief for the markets or not, but a long weekend definitely is a sigh of relief. Vinny, thanks a lot for that. Upasna will join us now for the stocks you need to watch out for today. Upasna, good morning. What's on your list?
Good morning, Hormaz. Let me first start with Eicher Motors. The numbers missed the estimates. The margins stood at 25.5%, while we were working with a poll of nearly about 27%. Next up is Torrent Power. Company reported a weak set of numbers. PAT stood at 495 crores, which was down about 8.6% on a YoY basis. Thermax will also be in focus as the revenue stood in line with estimates, while EBITDA margin and profit was higher versus the estimates. Revenue stood up 13% on a YoY basis. EBITDA margin stood at 10.6% versus 8.9% on a YoY basis. Vodafone Idea also reported its Q2 numbers, but the net loss widens from 6,432 crore to 7,176 crore sequentially. And companies reported a revenue growth of 4% sequentially, aided by tariff hikes, but it is much lower as compared to its peers. GRSC also reported its numbers. It's been an overall good performance. Strong revenue growth of 29% on a YoY basis. EBITDA margins expanded by 60 basis points and stood at 6%. Happiest Minds reported a steady quarter, revenue up 12.3%, and also has reported a CC revenue growth of 12.7% sequentially. Nalco has reported a strong set of numbers, beat across the counters. Margins stood at 38.7% versus the poll estimate of 31.2%. PI Industries will also be in focus. Company has reported a muted revenue growth led by pharma segment. Company has also cut its FY25 revenue guidance to high single digit versus 15% guided earlier. Deepak Nitrite also reported a weak set of numbers. Weak margins was mainly led by company's advanced intermediate segment, and company's operating margin stood at 14.6% versus 16.9% sequentially. And lastly, Cipla. Coming to Cipla, Cipla's US FDA has issued 8 observations for company's Bengaluru unit. And mind you that these observations are based on the inspection that took place from 7th of November to 13th of November. So all in all these stocks will remain in focus today on back of its Q2 results.
Keep an eye out on all of these names, Upasna. Thanks a lot for that. And lastly, Sudarshan joins in with cues from the FNO space. Sudarshan, good morning. All important 200 DMA in sight for the Nifty. What's the setup on the FNO side looking like?
Morning, Homa. So it's weekly expiry for Nifty, and let's see if there is any recovery in the store. And important is if we manage to hold on to any recovery, that if we see through the day. But talking about yesterday's session, it was a broad-based selling in the market. All the major indices saw a fall, with mid-cap index falling more than 2%, while Sensex and Nifty have fallen almost 1% each. For today also, GIFT Nifty is indicating a subdued start after a flat cues that we have got from US market. Talking about the flows, FIs continue to remain sellers. They have sold more than rupees 2,500 crore, but it looks like DIs have bought big in dips, and they have bought more than rupees 6,100 crore. Even in the future side, FIs have sold more than rupees 1,800 crore, and they have cut long positions by 766 contracts. At the same time, they have added short contracts of more than 26,000. Now the long exposure, FIs long exposure, reduced to 22%, which is at the lowest level since June 2024, and their short contracts total now stand at more than 2 lakhs. On the other side, clients continue to add long contracts. Total long contracts by client now stand at 2.75 lakhs, and their long exposure stands at 67%. On the option front, 23,700 call has seen addition of more than 39 lakh shares, and premium is almost 40. And on the put side, 23,400 strike has seen addition of almost 11 lakh shares, and premium is 33. With this important levels for Nifty, support after yesterday's fall is now seen somewhere around 23,500, and resistance is now at 23,700. One stock that has made an entry to the FNO band is GNFC.
Sudarshan, thanks a lot for that update. Let us